Typically, we have an art historian, Sarah Kane, kick things off for us. This today would actually be Art Talk number 26, believe it or not. It's actually probably one of our most popular things we've been doing to keep our community cohesive here and just have a little bit of fun every week. I'm actually am going to do today's Art Talk, so please bear with me, and we'll go ahead and get started with it. So today's theme and Art Talk is about Winston Churchill. I'm going to share a few slides with you and just kind of talk you through it. But let's have some fun with this. All right, so give me a second while I figure out how to share. Okay. So I am going to pick the screen to share. There we go. All right. What are people seeing on your screens?
It's like Art Talk number 26.
Perfect. And you're seeing a photo, a painting actually of Sir Winston Churchill, right?
Oh yeah.
Up on air. Great. Good. Okay. So I figured that out. Today's going to be about Sir Winston Churchill, and we're giving Sarah Kane, our art historian, the week off. Well, very well deserved, actually. And the reason why I'm doing it is because just a little bit over a week ago, I had the chance to visit his home in Kent, United Kingdom. His home is called, or state's called Chartwell. Fabulous place to visit if you're ever in the London area. Really, it's a great thing. You could probably just take a half day off and go down and visit the grounds and Sir Winston Churchill's home, as well as art studio. So Sir Winston Churchill is most notably remembered, obviously, as the UK Prime Minister from 1940 to 1945, when he led the country to victory in the Second World War. He's also known for his 4-volume history of Britain and its former colonies and possessions around the world. And it's called the History of the English-Speaking Peoples. It actually was one of the most popular and highly published books. He was born in 1874 and died in 1965 at the age of 91. In 1914, at the age of 40, Churchill was at a career low. After the World War I attack he ordered on Gallipoli, Turkey, it went horribly wrong. There's actually a very interesting movie about Gallipoli. It's I highly recommend it if you haven't seen it yet. He was consumed with anxiety, and he took up an unexpected new hobby, essentially painting. That's how he kind of really got into this. Painting kind of came to his rescue at a very trying time for Churchill. So for Churchill, painting became a source of delight. So these are just photos of his art studio, and that handsome dude in the blue hat is me. So he created over 550 paintings, and he's credited, his painting is credited with helping him hone his visual acuity, powers of observation, and memory. These paintings are those in his studio at Chartwell. I don't think they actually have a total accurate count of the number of paintings he's created, but they believe it's around 550. He first picked up a brush at the suggestion of his sister-in-law, who was a painter. Intimidated by a blank canvas before him, Churchill definitely placed a pale blue dab of paint on its surface to begin the blue sky. His sister-in-law grabbed the brush and made huge, large, fierce strokes and slashes of blue on the canvas. And that's when Churchill really kind of understood how to paint. He seized the largest brush he could find and fell upon the painting with fury. This is just a portion of one of the blue skies that he painted in one of his paintings. He did a lot of landscapes. In the 5 decades that followed, Churchill was prolific. He primarily focused on landscapes and seascapes. Made en plein air paintings as kind of were most of his paintings. He did some still lifes as well. His approach was very simple. Just go outside and paint what you see. The painting here is actually of the grounds at Chartwell, his estate. He basically set up his easel outdoors in different places and just captured the grounds of his country home there in Kent. It's a beautiful place to visit. What you see here are 3 interesting paintings. He painted a lot during his travels, Egypt, Italy, Morocco, the south of France, and many other places, Spain. And so it's quite interesting to actually see the different seascapes and landscapes that he painted, particularly those where he did those in foreign countries. He also painted a number of still lifes and portraits. He was particularly known and gifted, and he spent a lot of time actually trying to hone his skill here in capturing the reflection from the light. And you can see that from the glasses and the reflection of the light, and how he kind of really took a lot of care in trying to capture that properly in this painting. This is actually a photograph of a painting in his home there that's still hanging there. He was self-taught. He admired and learned from the works of the Impressionists, largely Manet, Cezanne, and Matisse. The photo on the left is his dining room at Chartwell, and what you see on the right, and I apologize for the angle at which I took that photograph. It is a Monet. It was given to Churchill by his publicist, and so his book, History of the English-Speaking, was very, very popular. Made his publicist a lot of money, I guess enough money for him to actually gift Churchill a Monet painting. It's a beautiful dining room. He was fond of using oils, and you see on the right is his cabinet. This is actually a photograph I took in his studio of all the tubes of oil paints that he had there. And the reason why he was very fond of oils is that they're just very forgiving and flexible nature with the bright colors. And they just kind of have a different type of joy that they exude when they're used on the canvas. For him, it was a lot of fun. The colors were lovely and delicious, as he was quoted, to basically squeeze out the tubes. One of our many of you, if you're candidates or otherwise associates, have had a chance to interact with Dick Easom. Dick Easom is quite the stamp collector, and he shared with me yesterday these commemorative stamps. So he's been commemorated in many different ways. These are from Dick's wonderful stamp collection. By the way, we actually have a segment, I think, on our learning management system about Dick's stamp collection somewhere, right, Dick?
We do, AJ. Absolutely.
Good. So these are, and I don't know, there's a whole story about commemorative stamps. Countries actually did these as a source of income. And so this is what used to be the state of Sayoun. It's now actually part of Yemen. And these are just some commemorative stamps that they published as a way to source income for the country of some of Winston Churchill's paintings. It's quite fascinating. So Churchill paintings do remind us of the great joy that painting can bring, echoing the book of Matthew in the New Testament. Churchill may have put it best: happy are the painters, for they shall not be lonely. Light and color, peace and hope will keep them company to the end of the day. And he never viewed himself as a professional painter. He always just viewed himself as a hobbyist or amateur. And it's just something he enjoyed doing, and obviously helped him throughout the difficult periods of his life. And some have ventured to draw a line between Churchill's painting pursuits with his legendary skill for writing. You might all remember him for his absolutely exquisite and wonderful and just evocative speeches. He picked up a paintbrush, and kind of in some ways which we might call analogous to how he picked up a pen to write a speech. Had a brilliant mind, vision, power of observation, informed him as a statesman and as a writer, and obviously as a painter. I do want to mention that one of our very esteemed associate at SMA, Dr. Arthur Herman, he's actually currently supporting some of our work right now in the Pentagon. He wrote a book on Churchill and Gandhi. It's called The Epic Rivalry That Destroyed an Empire and Forged Our Age. It's still available on Amazon. If you look him up on Amazon, you also see that he is quite a prolific author. He's written some really fascinating books. So encourage you to take a look at some of Dr. Arthur Herman's books, and particularly the one about Churchill and Gandhi. His speeches, Churchill's speeches, are some of the greatest of the 20th century, and what he did with words, moving people through speeches, right? He was trying to do the same with color and light, the things that painters use to convey an evocative set of emotions. So that finishes the presentation on Churchill. I don't know if I can answer any questions since I'm not an art historian, but happy to try.
AJ, I think you may have mentioned this, but when did he start painting in his lifetime?
So it was just, I think, after Gallipoli. It was in the like 1914 was when that attack occurred. So it was just probably, I'm guessing, 1915 or so, probably, or maybe that same year.
Still fairly young at that point.
Yes, I think in his 40s, right, at that point in time. But, I mean, not young, relatively speaking, right?
It all depends on which side of that dividing line you're looking in on.
Indeed.
For me, it's pretty
AJ,
young.
a comment. AJ, a comment. The picture I have in my background is of a mosque in Marrakesh, and it's
Uh-huh.
curious. The reason I picked it is because Churchill painted this for Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
Oh,
right
wow.
after the Blanca Conference in World War II. And I saw
Hmm.
you had it in your presentation. It's a really cool story, those of you who want to look it up.
Excellent. Hey, thanks for sharing that.
I don't know that.
All right. So do we have any other questions or comments? Okay.